3 choices, and they lead to 3 very different futures. Option A, the safe route. Diddy puts his $10,000 in a savings account earning 0.38%. That's the national average right now. After 40 years, compounding annually, that $10,000 becomes about $11,635. 40 years of waiting. $1,635 in total returns. And here's the kicker. Inflation averages about 3% per year. So, in real purchasing power, Diddy's $10,000 actually shrunk. He waited 40 years to lose money. Option B, the investor route. Diddy invests his $10,000 in an S&P 500 index fund. Historically, the S&P 500 has returned about 10% per year on average over the last century. After 40 years, about $452,000 from the same $10,000. Same Diddy, same years, just one different decision. That's not luck. That's compound interest doing what compound interest does, and Diddy just letting it. Option C, the leverage route. This is the one Diddy's parents never taught him. It's the one never borrow money people don't understand. Diddy takes his $10,000, but he also borrows another $10,000 of business loan, or a margin loan, at 6% interest. Now he's got $20,000 working for him. Year 1, his $20,000 earns 10%. That's $2,000. He pays $600 in interest. He keeps $1,400. That's a 14% return on his original $10,000 instead of 10% without leverage. He made 40% more money by using someone else's money. And if he does this over and over, borrow smart, invest smarter, the gap between option B and option C grows enormous. Over 40 years, that extra 4% per year compounds into hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional wealth. The debt didn't hurt Diddy. It amplified him. So here's where Diddy lands, and here's where you should land too. Because the real story isn't debt is bad or debt is good. The real story is that these are tools, and whether they build or destroy depends entirely on how Diddy uses them. Let's get specific. Diddy's student loans, $27,000. Let's actually run that math, not the scary version his parents told him, but the real version. Without a degree, Diddy's looking at jobs that pay around $32,000 a year, maybe $35,000 if he's lucky. With his degree, he starts at $52,000. That's a $20,000 difference every single year. Over 40 years, $20,000 times 40 equals $800,000 in extra earnings from a $27,000 loan. Even if Diddy pays $10,000 in interest over the life of the loan, he's still up $790,000. That's not debt, that's leverage. But, and this is crucial, Diddy won't take out $80,000 in loans for a degree in a field that pays $35,000, and millions of people have done exactly that. They borrowed 6 figures for degrees that don't increase their earning power. That's bad debt disguised as good debt. The difference isn't the word student loan, it's the return. The same logic applies everywhere. A mortgage in a growing neighborhood, good debt. A mortgage on a house you can't afford in a declining area, bad debt. A business loan for a proven idea with real customers, good debt. A business loan for something you just have a feeling about, bad debt. A car loan for a reliable vehicle that gets you to your job. That can be necessary, but it's still not making you money. The smartest car move Diddy can make is buying used with cash. The second smartest is the smallest, shortest loan possible. And this is where Diddy develops the framework that will guide every financial decision he ever makes. 4 questions, 4 filters. If a debt passes all 4, it's probably good debt. If it fails even one, Diddy walks away. Question 1. Does this debt buy something that grows or makes me money? A degree that increases income? Yes. A rental property? Yes. A business? Yes. A car that depreciates? No. A vacation? No. A gaming console? Absolutely not. If the answer is no, Diddy doesn't borrow for it. Period. Question 2. Is the interest rate low? There's no single magic number, but here's Diddy's rule of thumb. If the interest rate is under about 7% and the asset is growing faster than that, it's worth considering. A mortgage at 6.49% on a house appreciating at 4%, the math is close. But the alternative? Renting tips the scale. A credit card at 21%? Never. That's not a loan, that's an emergency. Payday loans at 400% APR? That's not even in the conversation. Question 3. Can Diddy afford the payments today and still have an emergency fund? This is where most people get it wrong. They calculate payments based on their best month, not their average month. Diddy needs to be able to make every payment comfortably, even if his hours get cut or his car needs a repair. And he needs at least $1,000, ideally 3 to 6 months of expenses set aside in cash first, before taking on any new debt. Debt without a safety net is a disaster waiting to happen. Question 4. Is the expected return higher than the interest rate with a margin of safety? If Diddy is borrowing at 6% and expects to earn 7%, that's a razor-thin margin of 1%. One bad year wipes it out. He wants at least a 3 to 4% spread. Borrow at 6%, earn at 10% or more. That way, even if things go worse than expected, he's still ahead. If the math is maybe, if everything goes perfectly, he walks. If a debt passes all 4 filters, Diddy considers it. If it fails even one, he walks no exceptions. This simple system replaces fear with math. It replaces debt is scary with this debt is smart or this debt is stupid. And it works for everything. Student loans, mortgages, business credit, even deciding whether to pay cash or finance. But here's the hardest part, and Diddy needs you to hear this. The pay off all debt immediately crowd isn't wrong about everything. They're right that carrying high-interest credit card debt is an emergency. They're right that car loans and BNPL can trap you. But they're wrong about the solution. If Diddy spends 8 years throwing every spare dollar at his 5% student loans and doesn't invest a cent, he's 33 with a net worth of 0. But if Diddy pays the minimum on his 5% loans and invests the rest at 10%, by 33, he's got a growing investment portfolio, and the loans are still getting paid down. He's building wealth and eliminating debt at the same time. The math doesn't care about feelings. It cares about numbers. And the numbers say, invest early, borrow smart, and let time do the heavy lifting. Diddy learned something today that most people never learn. Debt isn't a monster, it's a tool. And like any tool, it can build or destroy depending on who's holding it. If this clicked for you, Diddy made another video diving deep into credit cards specifically because that's where the trap catches most young people first. Understanding the difference between good and bad debt is step 1. Mastering credit cards is step 2. But here's what Diddy wants you to take away more than anything. Don't just take his word for it. Check the math yourself. Look up what your savings account is paying you. Pull up a compound interest calculator and see what happens to $5,000 invested today versus 5 years from now. Look at the interest rate on every debt you have and ask, is this making me money or is it costing me money? The financial system is set up to keep you confused and scared. They want you to think all debt is the same, because if you can't tell the difference between a 21% credit card and a 6% business loan, they win every single time. Diddy's just here to show you the door. If this helped, recommend this video to someone who needs it. You've got to walk through it. Subscribe. Diddy's got more myths to destroy.